Guys, I thought I'd make a quick little video showing you how to use these applets just in case you are having trouble and what exactly you need to be filling into the table here. So this first one is an applet for dice, and you can see right now we're on a spinner. We want to change it to dice, and it says we're going to use technology to roll a six-sided pair of dice and see what the sums would be. Do this 100 times. So what we want to do is we've got our dice here, or our sums listed, excuse me. Here are our two dice, and there's the first roll. You can see it landed on 3 and 3. But we want to do this 100 times. So what you can do, instead of clicking roll dice 100 times, change this to 10. And then every time you roll the dice, it's going to roll the dice 10 times. So you can see your total number of rolls down here is 10. And then you could roll again and you have 20. And roll again and you have 30. And so forth. All the way up until this number is 100. Then these numbers, these sums, are what goes in your table right here. Okay? So I would put 1, 1, 3, 6, so forth. But you got to make sure you're doing it 100 times. And then for the second part, it says set your dice so that the faces are numbered 1, 2, 2, 2, 5, and 6. So we want to clear everything. And we want to set our faces. So it says make dice. So we'll click on that. And so the first one is 1, the second one is 2, the third is 2, the fourth is 2, and then we have 5 and 6. And we click OK. And then we can go through and roll 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. And eventually this little pop-up is going to come up and say, we can't tally anymore, but that's okay. It's still going to sum. It just can't mark more than 20 tallies apparently. And so you keep rolling until you get to 100, and you'll put these numbers in here. I replaced this lab with another one with a little more help for you because the first time I noticed, I was like, we're not in class together. Let me give you a little bit of leading instruction here on how to do this. So it says work with a partner, which you can still do, to hypothesize what the expected number of rolls should be in this case. So the expected number of rolls would be the probability, the theoretical probability of getting the particular sum. And then in this case times 100 because we're rolling 100 times. So that's what I've done here. If you make a table with all the possible sums, which there's not too many to make here, and I started it for you. Notice I did 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 5 plus 1, 6 plus 1 here for the first row, for the first column of sums. And then I did the first one on the next column too. And you're just going to fill this in the rest of the way, and there ends up being with 6 times 6 or 36 possible sums you could get. And only one of them would get you a 2. So that's why I put here 1 over 36. And then multiply by, because that's the probability. And then multiply by 100 because we're doing it 100 times. And I went ahead and left it as a decimal, even though that doesn't really make sense. I just figured that would be the most accurate way. But if you round, then I'm not going to count it against you. Okay, so that's how you do the first part. The second part, you're using an applet with which door should you pick? So here we've got this one, and it says experiment with Monty Hall. That's 3 doors and a single run in the top panel of the applet, so we'll be looking up here for the most part. And you want to decide, do you want to switch or stay? So you're going to choose one of these down here, whether switch or stay. It's up to you, and then you'll answer the questions. And it says run the single panel 10 times. So we've got 3 doors and we want to run 10 times. So I'm going to change that 100 to 10 here and run the experiment. And you can see we get an answer down here, which will help you with your answers up here. And so that's how you use that applet. And then I'm going to go ahead over to Lab 7 and show you how to use the fire applet. So this one here, oh no, this is the race one, I'm sorry, and then we'll do the fire. Okay, so the race one says, set it up so that the red car moves on 4 numbers while the blue car moves on 2 numbers. So what that means is you want to choose 4 numbers. It doesn't matter which 4 up here. I've chose 1, 3, 5, and 6, and just 2 on blue. Okay, so that's what that's asking you to do. And it says set the number of segments to 1 using the slider bar. So there's 8 right now. I'm going to change that down to 1. And so I'm guessing that's like the number of laps or times they've run. Okay. And it says run this race 10 times and see what happens. So you can either change it to 10 down here, or you can roll 10 times either way. I'm going to use the 10 down here and select race. And it tells me how many times red won and how many times blue won. Okay? And you'll get something like this, but not exactly necessarily. Then it says clear the stats, so clear stats. We're going to leave it as 4 numbers and 2 numbers. And it says with the numbers of segments to 1, race 10,000 times. So we're going to change this 10 to 10,000. And race. And then you'll answer your question. And it says change the number of segments to 2. And there we go. We got 2 segments, and we can race 10,000 times again. Okay? Then part 3 says to look at, we've got this tree diagram for a 2-segment race. And it wants to know if your solution matches this solution or if it's pretty close. And with 10,000 times, by the law of large numbers, it should be pretty close to our theoretical. And the lab had originally asked you to create a 3-segment race tree diagram like this, and I thought, well, if we were meeting in class, yeah, that would be awesome, but trying to do that by yourself, oh my gosh, it took me 40 minutes. So I'm not gonna make you guys go through that. Maybe we'll do something that I can post together for you anyway. And then the last one, the applet, this is the burning one, and this one won't let me link, so I'm just going to copy it and paste it over here. Some lovely pictures coming up. And we've got this is actually a forest with trees in it. And it says, set the forest size to 64 by 64. So I'm going to select this little button right here. And set the wind speed to green. So right now it's on green. If you click it again, it goes to medium, and then it goes to a high wind speed, which you'll look at towards the end. So I'm going to leave it at green. And you can change your wind direction too. This is north, so if you click over here, it would be east. Over here, it would be west. And it asks you to write it down here. And then you're going to fill in the table. So it says, run the simulation for the given tree densities while regrowing between runs. Make sure you regrow each time. Regrow button. And we want 20%. So you can see here right now it says 67% full of trees. We got to change that down to 20 very carefully there. So now we have, well, we got to regrow. So now we have less trees in the forest. And it says percent burn first try. Well, how do you burn them? It says click on a place in the forest to make the lightning strike. You have to click on one of the green places. If you click on one of the non-green places, well, it's not going to burn. So you got to click on a tree. And we can see just a little bit of the forest burned, only 0.9. And so you're going to do that 4 times. And then find your average. So add these 4 up, divide by 4. And then you'll do the same thing for 50% and 75%. So I could change to 50% here. And regrow. And I will click on a green and see how much burns. Regrow. Click on a green, see how much burns. Okay, and do that 4 times, and same thing with 75 and do your averages. And then it asks you some questions. Okay, so hopefully that helps explain this lab, these 2 labs, a little bit more on how to use those apps.